in the comfort of your seat, Skuchan, and for those, of course, watching us on DSTV. Otherwise, wherever you are on the move, there's also a Eswatini TV app. You can just log on and check us live. Other activities that took center stage over the weekend after a long time, of course, without hearing the presence of a sport like angling. To many, it's fishing. They were active over the weekend. Talk about biggest fishermen in the country. They were down there in the Lubombo region, specifically in the Spofaneni, where you can see, of course, actions were taking place. We're going to touch on that. And what does that mean? You catch it and you let it go again. You don't have to go and fry it, as many might do it. You take it back. That's one of the rules of angling. Tekball entered their second week of club competition. We'll look at how the log is looking at. As you can see on the screen, Olympic Africa, the likes of Buff Ladies, talking about Buffaloes, they have a team that plays soccer, and also the same team plays for Tekball. You go and look at number 7, Emma Takers. We'll also touch on that. He's going to be in the house, our in-house analyst in that. Otherwise, other activities that will include M10 Premier League activities where some of the biggest action. Look at this header. The deliver itself also speak about it. We're going to talk about the big game that took place on Sunday between Manzini Wanderers and Babane Highlanders, where Mkweli, through that cross, of course, Scully made an action. Beautiful stuff that were taking place at the Mavuso Sports Center. It's going to be live on Eswatini TV. Don't go anywhere, because if you want to be always reminded about the show, make sure that you subscribe on our YouTube channel. Without wasting any time, I'm already in the company of the new cycling Eswatini president, Mr. Zwide Nxumalo. He's a man of many talents, but for now, we talk about cycling. I will not hold my horses. At some point, ndawudiveta vele ngitsinze lelinye talent alanalo lokubamba ikamera. Nguvusele mgoni. Zwide Nxumalo.
Good evening, Fabrice, and thank you for having me here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the viewers, Nxumalo, and awucala nje ukuthi usakhuluma nje usi-engage in our energetic Siswati nje ngoba uyasikhuluma. Majority know you as a photographer. You do that so well. If you go on social media and check anything that has got Gusekaya, a sign, the E with red, blue or something,
Yeah, red, blue, yeah.
They will see your beautiful pictures. But you're also a cyclist, as a cyclist, which you tell us how long you've been in the industry as a cyclist. Congratulations, you're the president. We get to the main event of yesterday, but uqala nini ukujofa ibhayisikili, Mr. Nxumalo?
Kushova bicycle in 2018 when we formally established Gusekaya Cycling as a cycling club.
Yes.
As part of the things that we wanted to do as a contribution to,
yes,
to the development in the country. Yeah.
Uqala 2018 ungena as a socialist noma ufuna kunje ku ride socially, already you had a bike at home bofuna compete?
Initially I hadn't planned to cyclish basically. But maybe to kulanza nje the story, because it's actually linked to what went around photography.
Yes.
So the 2 years before then, in 2016, I got an invite from 2 friends of mine to say, Gune MTN Kemani Road Classic. It used to be Mangayane.
Yes.
Yeah, so he said, oh no, come through. We are going to the race. So it was Mtutuzi Kaudi who was actually racing. I think he was still with Inyasi Cycling Club at the time. And also Fisiwe Vilani was still with MTN. So as the sponsor, she was there, and they've been good friends of mine over the years. So they just invited me to say, come through if you're not doing anything that morning. So I went there and sort of liked what I saw in terms of the engagement and and also the variety of and just the showcasing of different companies in the shirts. So for me, it sparked the idea to say, if I want now to grow my photography company and put it out there, maybe I should just try and get a cycling kit done and find maybe 1 or 2 cyclists who could wear that cycling kit with the Ekaya Gusekaya logo. So that's how things then got in motion, because after that event, we sat down with Namdu and actually discussed with then how can we play around with this idea that I have. And that's been the life basically over since then. It's been about sharing the ideas, coming up with how we can go about implementing some of them and moving forward. So basically that's how Gusekaya cycling started. It started as just we want to put a cycling kit out there with as sort of an advertisement for what we're doing with the photography. Then of course, as when we took out the first couple of chases.
And that's the logo you're wearing on that T-shirt.
No, it's a different one. That's a different it's a different one.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we took out those T-shirts, I think most people actually identified with the kayak sekai because it means it's a familiar Swazi saying.
That type of thing.
Yeah, a kayak with sekai. So it gained a lot of more interest than we initially thought it would. Because the initial plan, remember, we're going to get a few guys to wear it just for fun. So we decided, maybe it's a sign. Du was living in Inyase at the time, so he was going to be clubless. So we thought, maybe let's just sit down and draft a way to say how best can we set up a cycling club to just push cycling would be best pushed. So we dropped in Samgelos Melane, also another local who's based in SA, but is also a regular here. So the three of us then sat down and over 3-4 meetings, we set out a plan, we hashed out a plan basically to say, okay, we're establishing a club, we're going to name it this, and this is how we want it to run. And it's been moving since then.
Sometimes sometimes I forget that I'm on air. I get comfortable and I didn't sleep. Not in a bad way. I will tell you why I didn't sleep. I was there yesterday during the AGM. Yeah, you saw me. We'll talk about the AGM itself and the breakdown. Why didn't I sleep? I mean, you're so young, man. Now, you could be my age. And I'll give you the pecking order of sporting codes in the country that are most are followed and loved and liked. Not Gutsilamanya, I'm looking down on them. I'm looking at football. President Peter Simelan. I'm looking at his age. I'm not talking about his age. I'm looking at athletics, Zakir Lamin. I'm looking at his age. I'm looking at maybe Assisi basketball, Mapanga, Tata Mapang. I'm looking at volleyball, Mr. Lamin as well. I'm looking at boxing, Webster Luket. These are some of the followed sporting codes that are going. Just for cycling, I mean, that's an achievement. Okay, we've seen other sporting codes, Bakona, about terrible Bembe for tech board, they're still young. But it means you can drive this thing. We'll talk about that later on. But I want us to talk about the AGM yesterday, the annual general meeting. You are part of Gusekaya Cycling Club as a member. Yeah. Maybe just to break down other issues that were maybe elaborated during the AGM before we get to the main event itself, the elections, where you're competing with other two William Kidd, yes.
Yeah. Well, the AGM has been on and off for quite some time because you will remember it was initially scheduled for earlier in the year, but due to certain provisions in the constitution that couldn't be met, it was then postponed. And then after that initial postponement, it was again postponed, but then I think then there was a bit of progress because the clubs agreed. They set up an interim committee led by Babembusi Motsa to sort of iron out some of the clauses in the constitution with, of course, with the inputs of the club, but just to lead that bit to say, I think the past the other two sessions revealed that there needs to be some clauses that need to be tweaked here and there to be relevant to our current setup. So they've had about just over 6 months to carry out that process.
Working on the constitution.
Working on the constitution.
The constitution would say it had issues, yes.
Yes.
Yes, because I think the previous meeting when the likes of Sitlang, Bapuma, as ex-former president. Was the session yesterday. I think when I came in, some of the things we are still discussing, this is one of your member from Kusekaya, the likes of Clinton from Forever, the issues of constitution. That's where the 6 months, the likes of Gideon Mtembo and Motsa, yes, they were given 6 months to fix the contract.
Yeah.
I mean, the constitution. The 6 months has elapsed. This is the day of the elections.
Yes.
You are a nominee together with other two, William Kelly. We know them. One, I think, is well known from Rifle Association. The other one is well known, obviously, from cycling. Yes. This is you making a point during the session. What are you saying there? This is before the elections, by the way. So you are showing your potential to the electors to say, I'm capable of doing this.
I think there I was just pointing out, I think some of the issues, like as a streganyalo, where more would see people are getting the sense. I wasn't really involved at the time in terms of just the discussion and everything, but what I picked up was the sense that once people get into the seat that I'm in now, they get too comfortable and then start throwing their weight around. So my submission basically was, as clubs, we should still have the powers to call those people to order, because I'm elected as president of a Eswatini Cycling Association on the strength or on the basis of what I have done, or what the club or what the various clubs have seen me do from within Kusekaya Cycling. And only then have they gained confidence to say, if we take this guy and put him in that in that position, he's going to do well for the sport. So at the end of the day, where I am today because of them. So I cannot then turn around and say,
you did it on your own.
And I say I did it on my own. I'm going to do everything on my own.
The Constitution says you have to be nominated before you come to the elections.
Yes.
You were nominated by your club.
Yes.
Usekaya.
Yeah.
Kona lenye club ya nominated?
I'm not sure, but I think possibly all the clubs did.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we talk about all the clubs, we talk about Usekaya, we talk about Newcomb, there's Inyatsi, there's MTN Kemani, and there is Forever Cycling Club.
Well, yesterday we only had 4 at the table.
Yes.
And 2 were missing.
Yes.
So we had Forever Cycling, we had Newcomb Cycling, Newcomb Hills, sorry.
Yes.
We had Gusekaya and we had MTN Kemani.
Yes.
So we're missing Inyatsi and Malkens, who complete the full complement of my clubs, who are currently fully subscribed. Eligible to
the 2 Kellys, and we know how they're very passionate about this sport. And can you deliberate about the votes, maybe in terms of how many votes did you get compared to them?
Well, I think when we counted, it was 4 out of the 4. So
you got 4 out of 4.
Yeah.
So no one voted for them.
Not really. I think it was an issue of. I think the advantage also was the issue of a split vote, because they're coming from one club. So, yeah.
Is it sinking in already with your president?
Yeah, and the task is quite huge. But
you have do you know what's right now? You can make a call that says, anything that has to do with the cycling, the bicycle in the country, you can make a call and it will last until you are still in this seat as president. Let's talk about you being young and innovative. Does it also add pressure to take this position? You'll be leading people like Gideon Mtembo, people like Bomotsa. These guys are giants in the cycling industry in the country. They have been there. Does it pressurize you to say you are young and you'll be leading these people?
I think I'm not really pressurized, but I think having them behind me is gives me confidence, because it's not, it's people but it's people who have over the years been bold enough to come out and say, you guys are doing well with your club, you guys are handling this and that very, very well. So I think it is an assignment to, in part, take what we have done within Kusekaya Cycling and push it and help it to drive and use it to actually drive the association forward, because I think that's what, in a sense, the election is about, to say you guys are doing well within your corner, in your little corner, So come and take this seat and see if you can drive the association in that way. So I'm very confident leading the elder statesmen, because I think one key thing about them is they are very honest. They are very polite. With all they have achieved in the sport, they remain very very
Professional.
professional. They remain very humble
Okay.
as well. So it's people who are easy to engage. They quickly tell you when you are straying, but also are not afraid to take instruction. We've had them come through in some of the races that and rides that we've organized, and they've been able to take instruction even though they may be much older than us in the sport.
I want us to talk about what you have, what you want to offer, your goals and objectives. But before I talk about this, I just want to tell this to the viewer. He told me this in confidence, so I'm not going to expose him. He's in his mid-30s. He's not 40 yet. My God, he's president of Cycling Association. Constitutionally, he can be on board of directors of cycling in the SADC region by virtue of being cycling president in the country. That's mind-blowing. He is also allowed to be a member of ISA, which is African Cycling Federation, which means by being president, he can be a member at some point of Cycling Federation on the continent. That's mind-blowing. In his mid-30s, that's what I just said. Wow, what an achievement. Is that coming through? I was reading, actually. You're allowed to sit with the US cycling president in the same room. You're allowed to be on the board of different boards by being this president. Is this sinking in right now?
I think for now, my primary focus is basically just trying to get our house in order locally, because we have some issues, for instance, that we still need to fix with the National Sports Council.
Yes.
We also need to get other clubs on the table as well, because as I'm saying, we'll see Itolonje, we had 4 clubs coming into the meeting. 6 clubs were eligible to participate in that session, but also we had a couple more clubs, I think 3 more clubs who still have some issues that prevent them from participating in the decision-making processes and other spaces. So for me, I think the primary target, at least for the first maybe 5-6 months, would be that, which we sort out our issues with the Sports Council.
Grassroots program as well, for sure.
I think the grassroots program and everything else will follow once we are clear in terms of, because I think it's knowing because we have the full backing of a government and other stakeholders through the Sports Council. Because as it is, without official recognition of the Sports Council of cycling as a sport, it becomes a bit tricky in terms of even being able to access some opportunities that come through in line now when you're talking with grassroots development and all that, because it always goes back to what's in the Sports Council again. So if you're not on the same wavelength, if Sports Council is going to issue, like they did earlier this year, a list of sporting codes or associations that they recognize as the National Sports Council, and cycling is not there, it's an issue now as we engage our sponsors, because it speaks of the confidence levels that they are going to have when they want now to invest money into the sport.
Right.
So for me, that's the primary target for now.
All right. I'm going to let you go, but one more question. This is really beautiful. This is good. This is what we want. Youth being involved in leadership when it comes to sporting codes. I wonder what one of the top athletes, cyclists in the country, Moses Shawang, would say based on your appointment, because he's always wanted someone he's comfortable to talk to in terms of leadership. But one last question before we leave. Majority of people, they know you as a photographer. And you love photography. I think we've been in the same setup for many occasions during biggest tournaments in the country. In Kwenyama Cup, we are taking pictures, talk about SPTC. Some of these pictures, when you're wearing a tie, you say, how, this guy, pictures, vele, it's his things. Today, I'm president of another association. How are you going to combine both professions?
We'll see. Because I think it's it's a huge assignment that I've taken on, and of course, there are some sacrifices that I would need to make that I was very aware of. Would say I would need to make those sacrifices when I agreed to be nominated for the post. Of course, I'm going to miss covering soccer because I think that's where at times our paths would cross. I'm going to miss covering a lot of other things, and of course, it seems at present I will not be even able to ride the local races because I'll possibly be running around during those those races. But also now it gives me a bit of time to document more of the cycling as well, because I think Logunye Gwendera Kanza will see I'm going to cycle, and then if Gwendera gets like he did with the Guma National Championships, for instance, I was lucky enough because by the time the champion, who was Muzi, was about to finish, I had already finished and I was able to capture some very nice pictures there. But at least now I think I have a bit more leeway in terms of being able to document the story of cycling in Eswatini, which has been one of my burning desires as well, to say we don't have much information out there in terms of what we are doing or what's happening in the cycling scene in the country. There are some things that we've tried to set up and just try and generate the interest in the sport. So I think right now, much as I'll lose that engagement in some other spaces, it's still a win because then I'm able to focus more on cycling and push the cycling agenda forward.
They have it. Time is against us, Mr. Ngumalo. Thank you very much for being here. It's Mr. Ngumalo to me. I have to pay my respects whenever I see you. Thank you very much for being here, and all the wishes from our side as a sports team to say go there, and you're one phone call away whenever we need explanation, interviews, to make sure that we get updates on what's happening in the cycling industry. We miss your pictures. We are live on social media. We just get to see your pictures. We miss that. Doesn't mean that he's going to stop, but it won't come easy if you're just used to call him to say, no, it won't be like that anymore. You have to also to approach to use some approach as respect. Mr. Ngumalo, please, as president, what can we do? Thank you very much for being here.
All right, thank you, Fabrice, for having me here, and I'm looking forward to a very fruitful engagement with Eswatini TV.
All right, they have it. That is the newly elected Eswatini Cycling Association President, Zwide Ngumalo, a young man, ambitious, who wants to achieve a lot for the local cyclist. Incoming now, next, after the break, is our in-house, another young man who also today, I don't know what's happening. He's quite happy. He was going to tell us what's happening. That is Ndadlamini, our in-house analyst. After the break, he's here in the studio.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you will receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Why should we pay our TV license?
The content on our local television is actually more up to date. The industry is enhanced.
It is a criminal offense not to pay your TV license and attracts a fine of 500 emalangeni or 6 months imprisonment.
And the industry is definitely blooming, ladies and gentlemen, so that's what we have for you, but we'll be right back just after the break and we'll give you more of Miss V.
Pay my TV license. That's why I can enjoy the benefits of an enhanced industry and keep track with recent transformation.
Mommy, who pays for a TV license and what are they paying for?
The owners of TV set and a gadget with a tuner like DVD set have to pay.
Pay your TV license at Netbank with the details provided on screen. Or use your cell phone via the mobile money pay. You could also visit your nearest post office and pay there. Pay your TV license via Eswatini Mobile Imali. Any TV device retailer can purchase a license to trade. Pay your TV license and enhance the industry.
Your favorite music show is back. We're bringing you the hottest music videos and live studio interviews with your favorite celebrities. We're giving you a front row seat to the latest fashion trends as well as your weekend gig guide. Join us live on social media and call in to send in your shout-outs. Catch This Weekend Eswatini every Friday at 5:30 p.m. live on Eswatini TV.
We're still here live on Eswatini TV, your number one sports show on Monday. The edition, of course, continues. He's in the house and he's going to tell us more. He's well dressed. He looks comfortable. He looks good. Ungene happy kakhulu. Ujabuliswa yini Nkosi?
Fabrice, every time ngicabanga ukuthi uhlala ungibona nangabe ngidothulela something emaloyal viewers ngihlale ngihappy nabe kulihlelo lemaloyal viewers akusimlo happy ngilendvo lengito lemaloyal viewers.
Nkosi, ngicela nje ukubuta nje. Uyambona Zwide?
Yes.
Ncane. Zwide sengipresident nyawo yakwathi lo.
Yes.
Shothi Zwide kusasa angabiti press conference akubide.
No vele Fabrice kunana kulengcinga ukuthi ngikucondzisa ethine angadi lamanye emaswati abe menobulukhuni bekuthi umuntu ukhulile because sikhuluma ngazwithe sikhuluma president Zwide ukhulile ngicabanga lamasonto enyathi labamthwesona ka cycling kudzinga ukuthi siwa respect noma ngabe sijwayelene kanganani but lokuthi ngipresident ngicela ukuthi sihloniphe lo
awuvusele babukela emakhaya ngathoba kavusela
sengivusela wona ama-loyal viewers lokukhulu ukutitfoba ngivusela ama-loyal viewers ekhaya
atso innocent nama-loyal viewers kukubuka nje usumfana lo mfana lo thulile
nakusho bona Fabrice kude nami lengakusho.
All right, Linda Dlamini is in the house. We're going to talk about activities that took place over the weekend. Now Umati on a personal capacity goes as we now umbuga, and I think mostly the position you'd follow because of the innovative things the candidates on the table. Ukombisa would see he's passionate about cycling. Guba appointed as a young man like that, master. Gunika sipi stombe, master.
Ngicabanga ukuthi Fabrice ezusasebenza umuntu bantu bawubona umsebenzi wakho. Umsebenzi wakho awuyuze usebende bantu bangakuboni noma bangete bakunika leyo credit na usawenda lo msebenzi but egcineni kwako konke bathi uNkulunkulu akawadle manje umuntu umsebenzi ezwede la wendile ka cycling ngicabanga ukuthi if bolanzelela ngiyakhumbula makusafika iclub yakhe akusekhaya cycling yafika le team yabrandwa bonke ama cyclists agcwati itembatho takhona baba clean banakeka ukuthi le team le ye cycling kusekhaya ngicabanga ukuthi wonke umuntu watibuta kusekhaya cycling nyalo ngikhuluma ukuthi last month beye Durban yo participate khona onke lama events baba khona baba branded so ngicabanga ukuthi tonke letinto letendile even ukhuluma ngedocumenta imisebenzi yaka cycling le association but ngicabanga ukuthi overall le sport because thina sinenkinga ukuthi even if Zwide beka ngasiko involved kakhulu emabhayisikilini but lokuthu involved ku sport uyalandzelela tonke izinto kuma sports uyamkhanza ebholeni uyamkhanza kuphi uyashoot so ngicabanga ukuthi le tinto lethu once umuntu wambona ukuthi unalo lelikhona ukuthi angalida ebamvu ngicabanga ukuthi uyamnika le chance alid but nyalo sekudzinga ukuthi yena together nale team lato sebenza nayo ati prove ukuthi vele labambonile kuye ukuthi utawukhona kubendela wona utabendela
talking about leadership, he is also a man who once told me that he's leading somewhere. Angifuna ukunitshela ntasitshela ngabe comfortable ngathi kunelibandla naliphethe akuhambisene nema sports but kunelibandla at some point where at some point we were talking and say he has to miss work because kunelibandla kunemhlangano. But I mean, sisavala the topic of cycling, maybe one or two things we want to talk about is that as a young man and being ambitious, we've talked about cycling is one of the favorite sports. Nakuluma picking order bengchazela nje ukuthi ibhola, athletics, boxing na athletics, cycling is around. Some of the things nawubuka wena personal ukhulumile ukuthi bakhona bo grassroots but relationship na sport council ufune bayivuze. Kubuka kwakho master ifocus yakhe kwanyalo ufune ibe kuphi? Yeah, as a new president.
Fabrice ngicabanga ukuthi onke lama events labe kahlale abakhona.
Yes.
Ku cycling kudzinga ukuthi abuye cishe onke bawathole bakhona ku-maintaina ama-sponsors because once wathola asengibekise nje Fabrice bekuba ne-M10 Kimani very big competition yakhona ka-cycling kudzinga ukuthi leyo relationship leyo na M10 bayi-maintain because akudzinga ukuthi nakufika i-committee lensha ku-association ama-sponsors besasabaleka bekunabo stage race ngicabanga ukuthi nakhona le race lenkulu kakhulu nyalo i-priority maintain le relationship lonawo nema-sponsors akho ahlale akhona even angete nemali more then bese soyangikhathi-ke soyabuka ukuthi okay sengikwendile lokho nginayo ideal yema-sponsors ya 5 years ya 3 to 5 years done ngihamba ke lapho sengiyafuna bamvu labatawukhona ukuthi badlale le sport le cycling bakhona ukuthi bashove amabhayisikili 10 years or 15 years even if noma ngabe utabe songekho in office but kukhona lo tabe ukushile le foundation utabe uyileyile la kule association ngicabanga ukuthi into tonke letinvo leto lekudzinga ukuthi attend ukhulume kakhulu ngedocument before siyathi ukuthi incumbi yema association anenkinga ukuthi nawuthi ufuna kuma archives awo kude lo lokutholako uva nje bani bakhuluma ukuthi yes bani bekalishova libhayisikili but labamfana tabakhombisa ini lokuthi kahle Dennis Welsh was a great cyclist kudzinga ukuthi ubakhombise ukuthi okay na ukhuluma ngabo moto labeka interim chairman yes kudzinga ukuthi bonakale letinvo leto so ngicabanga ukuthi naloko kudzinga ukuthi atihambele phambili letinvo leto kakhulu.
You have it, of course. So we keep a close eye to the association to see how they're operating, how they're moving forward. And of course, one thing that is quite surprising is that all the four clubs that were voting on the day, they voted for him. He was competing against the likes of William Kelly. Both of them, none of the teams voted for them. They all voted for him, which means they saw the talent in the young men. Now, moving forward, having started last weekend, Tekball, is currently involved in club competitions. Master, you were there over the weekend as one of the persons in Ashogutsi. You've got a close eye to see potential in Noibonede on the second weekend of club competition. Gufigenera manyama teams and Gwaba quite heavy. This is how the log looks like when you're round 2 singles.
Oh yes, kunema teams Fabrice ku round 2 kuma singles labeka khona this past weekend kulabeka ngekho kule weekend ya lephelile ukhuluma Buff ladies team ya Buffaloes bebangekho kule first round ku Firstborn Tech bebangekho le team ya Bomdura na Stanford bebangekho kule viki lephelile bakhona babuyile la ngicabanga ukuthi
5 win no loss batmisela nawubuka le team ngicabanga ukuthi ibayajima uyakhumbulana sichamka khona ku National Challenger Series ukuthi Mdura wapromise kanganani ukuthi ufuna kutinika isikhathi ku Tekball so ngicabanga ukuthi kufika kwala lamanye ama teams labeka ngekho last time ukuthi babuye ngicabanga kuyilethelele competition because kudlaliwa kwadlala ama singles kwadlala ama doubles kwase sekuba nema mixed doubles ama-mixed doubles sakhumbula ukuthi ngiladlala khona a male and a female i-Malkins Vondos beyikhona inema-mixed doubles le team yabo Naomi beyikhona ama-Takers bekakhona ama-mixed doubles Black Monopoly nayo beyinawo ama-mixed doubles so ngicabanga ukuthi lokuthi kube nale ama-mixed doubles ngicabanga ukuthi kuletha a different dimension because
sibone even one player nje from khona ematakers abeka khona last week Mandela nokwazi Dlamini ngicabanga ukuthi usurprise labaningi kakhulu performance yakhe ladlalile but nje overall ngicabanga ukuthi ku second round Buff Ladies bayalida bebalida ngale 12 but with inakhuza Musi Classic sakhuluma ngayo ukuthi team yale eMangayane 20 kilometers
they are the overall winners so far.
Yes bahamba phambili even though banemalose lang 5 but bakhonele ukuthi bawine 12 games so ngicabanga ukuthi I'm impressed Blues nayo team le qhamuka eluve so the two teams lo wabona ka dominator lapha ama teams la qhamuka emaphandleni
so le tafula vele
bayalisebenzisa kakhulu so ngicabanga ukuthi if usesekhaya usangabada ukuthi ungajoina ema sports noma ujoin i-techball ngicabanga ukuthi uyadibambelela.
Quite beautiful, of course. I'm looking at the standing now. That was the second week of club competition. The activities continue even this coming weekend. Let's talk about now. I think Baikas had a format last weekend. Would say the format, how it's going to be moving. Are there more clubs now going to be joining even the next day of the competition?
Yes, Fabrice, bekunama teams la register njoba sishilo ukuthi once wa register uyakhona lokuthi udlale. Njoba sishilo ukuthi last week bekunama teams bekangekho la bekakhona this past weekend leSeptember ukuthi even nalamanye ema teams la registile la nalo litafula la jimako ngicabanga ukuthi ata ukuta next weekend.
Okay, I have something maybe I want to ask. We come back quickly on maybe how the club competition is going. There is a sort of innovation and work, the commitment that is taking place within the association federation techball. What's the drive? Because I think Umbuto Utsi Niafig as an association or Iafig as an association should look how far they have gone. They have clubs within a space of how many? What's the drive to make sure that people are very much excited about the sport? Nipi secret ni just to win people's heart.
For President Kabanzi, the goal was clear from the get-go to develop the sport. Invole ndekako nyalo ngicabanga ukuthi the number of clubs lo wabonako lapha participate ngicabanga ukuthi ngiyo le goal liya achieve to develop the sport. That's it.
They have it. Now I have one last question is that do you also operate as other federation or association where you will probably say after 4 years you have elections where the current maybe executive will just go out, maybe we'll have a new executive, or does the constitution allows the current executive to be re-elected again and sit in for the another term? How long is the term of the executive?
Yes, Fabrice, inakhuza isho njalo ukuthi if ma members association atawubona lokuthi kufanele lobuholi lobukhona buphindze bubuyele busebenzele association ngicabanga ukuthi butawubuyela uyavuma i-constitution.
Big movement. There is the World Cup, Techball World Cup taking place this December. Now, Hungary is the country where the motherboard of the World Cup of the sport itself, but the World Cup is not in Hungary. The World Cup is going to be in Poland. So the motherboard of the Techball internationally, the offices are based in Hungary, but the World Cup itself is going to be taking in Poland December this year. We are going there as a country. Take us through, Master. The dates have been released in Poland. The team that is representing us, who are they? Are they ready? Do they have what it takes to compete well?
Yes, for President ukhumbula njengoba wawilandzela i-National Challenger Series isakatwa even emsakatweni Eswatini TV. So but sesengiyakhuluma nje ngikhuluma indzaba ta SG ukuthi the two athletes lokungumfana futhi Taribo Bhembe naNjabuliso Simelane bawina i-Challenger Series lokho akuba qualify ukuthi baye ku World Cup bayomelela live ku World Cup bahamba ema dates aphumile mhla ka11 iyaqala yona iWorld Cup Techball World Cup ePoland njengoba bososhile ePoland. So ngicabanga ukuthi le club tournament ifike at the right time bakhona ukuthi ba train even before ba trainer but ngicabanga ukuthi ku compete with other players ngicabanga ukuthi ubona timvo letihlukile even nema mistakes uyakhona ukuthi uwapolish.
All right, they have it. Dates have been released. I promise you one thing as a viewer. They will be here in the studio. The two takers that he just talked about are going to be here in the studio to tell us about what are the preparations, what can we expect them. We want them here before they leave to Poland to represent us as a country. Moving on, of course, over the weekend, they call it angling as a sport down there at the Lubobo region under the Eswatini area. It was a beautiful day from Friday to Sunday, Master. Master mhlawumbe nje just kunika sithombe mbukeli tithombe titawuvela but umuntu wethu lo munye tatibuta ukuthi how why would fishing become a sport? Because bengikhuluma nalomunye ke Master ukuthi phela funa specific because lo mdlalo lona bathi kudweba tinhlanti because wathi umdlalo wokudweba nje kuphela akusumdlalo because kunalokunye kudweba lesigwadiko but lo mdlalo lona umdlalo wokudweba tinhlanti. Why is it a sport, Master? And we've seen it internationally taking place.
Fabrice uma uchaza sports Temidlalo ukhuluma kumele kube nemicudzelwana.
True.
Kumele kube ne competition.
True.
So angling sine sathi ukuthi kudweba tinhlanti. Angling nabo bane competition.
True.
They compete. Hence it's called a sport.
Right.
So ngicabanga ukuthi nabo benda lenvo lefanele over the past weekend bebabambe i-competition yabo. I know ukuthi incumbi bacaba ukuthi angeke kuze kudweba kube sport but kudinga ukuthi wena Fabrice nangabe ngicompete mne nawe uthi wena uyindwebi le good kunami kudinga ukuthi bese sesihamba sesiya competition sesiyabuka ukuthi umbalo lohlolwa. So over the past weekend kulempela somvo lendlulile bebasevakasha lodge Eswatini labe babambele khona le competition yabo noma lo mcuzelwano wabo bawucala 2017 lo mcuzelwano lo shothi bese kuyi edition yesine le angling kudwetshwa ke lapha Fabrice inhlandi letinkulu lo dweba inhlandi bekunama categories lo dweba inhlandi lenkulu nguye yahamba ifaka esikwalini kubukakala ukuthi vele ya Fabrice inkulu kuneya Master yes inkulu so hamba phambili kuyabhalwa phansi ukuthi wo bese ke le inhlandi Fabrice ibuyisela mantini ayidliwa ngoba lo mnyu
ayisiwa
ngoba lo mnyu uthi awu labantu kushothi bahambe netinhlanzi leti
so shothi red card yakona nongolokuyisha wayidla very to red card
uthole red card nasa sikali sakhona nasa sikali sakhona Fabrice yakalwa le inhlandi le ngenile lapha sineke Fabrice isikole sidweba besidweba bomokhani awubantu bomokhani yes eshiselweni besidweba bomokhani bobhabule tonke leti inhlandi leti
wayibuyisela mna
uyayibisela kumele ibuyele because imvelo le kudzinga ukuthi leti inhlanga
saphira wena ukuthi saphira. He's making sure ukuthi saphira and he's one of the players who once represented the country, Mr. David Lawrence.
Yes, David Lawrence
Mati from Mbolozi. Yes, it's a beautiful sport, Master, and I think to many besisibathi would see maybe we've never had challenges of this magnitude, but it's a sport where I think internationally they compete and people have achieved a lot with this sport.
Kakhulu Fabrice kakhulu. In fact nawubuka ukuthi labasuka khona nawukhuluma 2017 nabasaqala la bekunema teams noma bekunemaqembu lang 15 laba ingcenye yalomcudelwano lo but nawubuka ukuthi ngimbela sonvo over 40 clubs labe ingcenye le tournament ngicabanga ukuthi uyabona ukuthi lo mehluko unganani over 15 noma ngisho nje ukuthi over 20 wema teams langetekile more than inanka beswabona so ngicabanga ukuthi angling as a sport yinvo leyo letsinga ukuthi inakekelwe bekunemali sizumbulu semali Fabrice and bekunema teams la chamuka bo Mozambique la chamuka bo South Africa so uyabona ukuthi bayithatha serious kanganani le ndvo le and na ungayilandzeli le ndvo le bo South Africa vele bayacompete ngihlale ngibukela nje mina bo South Africa bayacompete kakhulu kule sport le so ngicabanga ukuthi nathi if sithatha as a serious sport because batimisela labamvu labazidlalako and nawubuka ukuthi nale association nayo itimisela kanganani ngicabanga ukuthi dinvo letelo kudzinga ukuthi singabe sesisivala emehlo kudo.
Beautiful stuff, of course, that were taking place down there at Eswatini, like you said, Vagasha area in Eswatini, and of course the likes of the Forbes family. I think they played a huge role to make sure that this day goes accordingly. That's one of the fish that was caught on the day that weighs 2.24 kg, and like you said, Master, maybe usigcina yini okugcizelela ukuthi vele ibuye emandini because it's a sport. If siyidla it's no more a sport. Kuze ukuthi vele sibuyisele emandini kusho ukuthi that's why it's a sport.
Yes, kahle kahle asidwebeli sisu kusisi sodwa sidwebela sisu no. Sidwebela nje sidwebela ngiyathi lo Fabrice wazama negotiator lapha ukuthi uma uthola 2
no tibutera master ukuthi kuya because even the person who was shooting was making sure ukuthi vele siyayibona ukuthi iyahamba vele siyaphila.
Nalokuthi ke Fabrice le association noma mhlambe labantu laba organizer lama tournaments lawa bagcizelela kakhulu Fabrice ukuthi kulabantu laba iya kodidwebela because kunebantu vele labathi thina siyaphuma sodwebela awuthi phela naso ulisebenzisa leli net lakho because labanye basebenzisa emanet thina sisebenzisa emadweba amadweba.
Yes, the stick, the long stick.
Thina sisebenzisa lokho. But ke labanye labasebenzisa lamanet bakhala ngalokuthi yithani nanisebenzisa lamanet ningawashiyi lapha ekhaya because leti imfishi bese setikhanza sethi banjwe lapha kulendet atsakhona lokuhamba tiyofuna ukudla noma thambe tikhululekile kushiya lamanet yithani nanisebenzisa lamanet bese seniyawakhokha niyahamba nibeka le ngaphandle noma niwabeka lelwa niwabeka khona but hayi ukuthi ahlale le damini la kunaleti inhlanti khona.
Beautiful stuff. You've heard it, of course, for those who love, angling, fishing itself. Umudlalo wekudweba tinhlanti. There you have it. Thanks goes to all those who put an effort to make sure that coverage was taken. Now, moving on, later on the day, Saturday, same day, we'll look at where activities were taking place in terms of football. Eswatini, of course, Eswatini TV sports team rushed to Mavso Sports Center. We'll look at the bigger picture, maybe to look at the results first, Master, before we get into the activities of Saturday. So far, we've shocking results. One would say in 2 games, some of the teams still don't have a point. You wouldn't think, I think for me, this is my view, Master. Maybe you have got also the biggest experience. But just to put maybe the results here on our table. Buffaloes, this could be their worst start in more than 5 seasons. 2 defeats. Mbabane Swallows, worst start as well. 2 defeats. Could you expect this to happen?
Yeah, Fabrice ngicabanga ukuthi iligi iqalile nama surprises lamaningi kakhulu. Saturday Mbabane Swallows beyidlala neRoyal Leopard. Yakhala phasi ke Mbabane Swallows sorry ne-Green Mamba so santi ne-Leopard ne-Green Mamba yakhala phasi ngicabanga ukuthi Mbabane Swallows they are yet to score a goal.
That's another issue.
We are yet to score a goal. 2 games ku-league. So ngicabanga ukuthi it's a worrying thing. Bagcina bayiluzile ke igame ye Green Mamba nga 1-0 kulalashaya nguye Javi. A beautiful goal. But kulomnye umdlalo Fabrice lothusela abaningi kakhulu. Ngumdlalo we Young Buffaloes nayo isibet. Khona inhlangano isibet.
This is the goal you're talking about.
Yes, Lela Javi.
He's experienced and he's been there. He's won the league anyway with Leopard, with Green Mamba, so he should be able to know where to hit Mbabane Swallows.
Yeah, experienced player Javi yena mthunzi Mkhonvo udlalile even nase Congo adlalele eSvita Maida City. I remember Fabrice ngikhuluma ngalomnye umnyaka adlala ku Maida City bengihleli la before athathwe iRoyal Leopard bengihleli la ngathi one of the best players la khona ku league Javi imthunzi Mkhondo, and I know ukuthi labanengi ba
okay. Ndocela sibuye kancane, we're not discussing it, Master, sorry to cut. Ndocela sibuye kancane kule highlight. That's what you saw. There was confusion that I think surrounded on social media to say maybe he was in an offside position, but maybe when we get the picture again we can look at it. But I wanted you to clear that because as an analyst we are able to tell that is Mabila, I think umukhoka of offside position.
No abeka ngikho kunakhuza because uyambona Mabile clear ngicabanga ukuthi
but ibhola seyisuka sibuye kancane maybe ibhola isuke sibone na isuka angithi outside sibala mas na isuka ibhola. Where is Mabila, where is Shafi?
Okay. So ukuthi sayinakhuzile bengifuna ukuthatha step by step because ngiyabona ukuthi kune confusion. Now ibuka le bhola la isuka khona umbuka na Javi la khona Mabila kavela ngaphasi but there nyalo nje nayita isuka le bhola enyaweni lemidlalo weGreen Mamba. Yes. Ku clear akekho offside. Ulevel with Mabila nase yita ke vele Mabila sosele kakhulu ngala ngemuva nase ifika enyaweni lakhe Javi but nayisuka nje enyaweni lalo mdlalo waphasela yena Javi ngicabanga ukuthi beka onside position.
All right, more on that, more discussion on that on Thursday show report Eswatini. You can see the position like you said that when the ball left Mabila umkhokha ku position but maybe
no labeka offside bekungiphinda yeah longayitsinzanga le bhola longayinterfere shanga ne play so ngicabanga ukuthi there's nothing to talk about.
You said Swallows are yet to score a goal moving forward. They had to score a goal. In interview and Nini, this is what he said. He said Aksuyero set a scheme. Shotsi gune interference on management. He's not the one who set the tactics on the day.
In fact,
do you think there's a problem at the club?
A huge problem. In fact, Fabrice gune tinzaba from reliable sources.
Yes.
Lamhla Monday.
Yes.
Kungendeka ngafiki Wednesday.
Coach
Mbabane Swallows. Christophe Enin. I hate to break this. I'm not saying but according to reliable sources.
But nasa kwendekile Monday ndawusho ukuthi cha master washo last week Monday nakusekuyendeka. Phela ngile ability sithi ngakuwe ukuthi usitshela imvo besiyendeka.
Yeah.
So okay, you tell us more on Thursday, but who do you think is the right candidate for the post?
Njoba usho ukuthi sitawukhuluma more on Thursday yes nasekwendekile because asifuni ukukhuluma ngabo coach balamanye emacembu siganzi na Christophe Enini usesengumceceshi welicembu leMbabane Swallows.
It's quite disappointing. They are yet to score a goal. Not even get a point, to score a goal. They are one of the biggest clubs in the land. Now, another big match on Sunday, so Banzini Wanderers taking on Mbabane Highlanders. Master, having defeated Buffaloes on the day, first week of the weekend, Mbabane Highlanders, they came into the game. I think Ernest Mavuso also said that they can't afford to not to get 3 points. To you, you were there, you were with me yesterday at Mavuso. Do they strike you as a team that can compete the league, Mbabane Highlanders?
I think Fabrice, it's kutaba hash ukuthi ungajaja I-performance yeMbabane Highlanders kule game le more especially Fabrice because leti team astinaka iMbabane Highlanders iqale ukudlala ne Young Buffaloes.
Yes,
a big game.
Yes,
tough game.
True,
they won. Bayeta badlala neManzini Wanderers. Tough game, one of the biggest game. Le pressure ngicabanga ukuthi ku-end kusaqala I-season the players bo coach basafuna combination players asafuna I-fitness yabo so ngicabanga ukuthi kungaba harsh kusheshe sijudge yes against iManzini Wanderers itolo bebavule ikhala kakhulu bekude passes bongathi mhlambe lamanengi lo bongathi boya wajabulela kule team and they were so unfortunate ukuthi one of their key defenders lokungu one of my defenders abo uphumile wathola injury so ngicabanga ukuthi kukhulu kakhulu but they were able to still point.
I want you to take me through this, Master. This is a beautiful goal. This is Mkweli's cross. He gives card. Master, you've once talked about, as we close, you've once talked about how there are things you don't coach, you don't teach. These two players played together at Mbabane Swallows. They made history for the country. They played for Swallows and they were one of the best players for the team then. Did this surprise you on the day? Is the partnership maybe that cross, knowing where to get scarred in the head? I think majority people were shocked with the header, but I think let's not take away anything from that cross. We've seen the likes of Rhys James, Trent Alexander-Arnold for Liverpool. Look at this. Knowing where the man is. Partnership made someone.
But I think last Kali underrated. Now buka le run because go understand and go buka ukuthi I defender okay ilanga phambili like tawela khona le bhola mina ngiyende le run ngifike la ngaphambili kwayo then nale jump ucalculate le jump yakho then bese sophenza ucalculate nothi goalkeeper ungakuphi uyi redirect so ngicabanga ukuthi leli goal one of the best goals la in fact kukhomisa kona ukuthi he played with Abotaribo because one of the greatest header of the ball yena but nawumbuka yena Sikhali ngendlela letangayo le rate letangayo ngicabanga ukuthi utamsaphasa yena Taribo ngikushaya amagoli ngenhloko.
3 goals in 2 games. Sikhali, he's winning the armband. Is he back at his best?
Most definitely. 3 goals in 2 games. Ngicabanga ukuthi utakabi and last season beka compete naye Phiwo Dlamini lagcina ashaye irecord yamagoli but naye Sikhali ngicabanga ukuthi wawashaya amagoli last season. In fact uyithwele le team ngumsebenzi wakhe vele ukore amagoli lokumele ukuthi ashaye amagoli ayishaye bengifuna kusho sengiyikhumbula Peter Dlamini the defender beka khona ulimele waphuma lengicabanga ukuthi taba a huge loss if rock solid defender, one of the best.
And the fact that you have to quickly remember the name, that's a beautiful one. Thank you very much, Dlamini, and you are back here on Thursday for Eswatini to give them depth analysis on what happened over the weekend, and we are so much privileged and so much, so privileged to have you in the studio. Thank you, and go do more analysis. I know now you are rushing to see what's happening internationally. World Cup qualifiers, 3 Lions are playing. You want to know more? Just keep digging. We need this experience, this analysis live here on Eswatini TV.
Yes, Royal Leopard won against Milling Spurs 3-0. CPS won against Young Buffaloes 2-0. Tinyosi played a 3 entertaining match. 3-3 versus Vovovo. Yeah, game of the weekend. So yeah, results lamanye emekanjalo.
There you have it. This is how the league is working so far. Quite disappointing for 2 giants, Young Buffaloes and Bafana Swallows, knowing that for the past 2 to 3 seasons they have been one of the title contenders, but they are still to get a point for this Titanic season 2021-2022. More on Thursday, Eswatini. Otherwise, this is how we end the show. Activities continue on the weekend. There's nothing that you're going to miss. It's going to be once again live here on Temidlalo, Monday edition. Siphuma kanje sithela kamnanzi.